Oh my god! I thought he got the kick! I thought he landed the kick! Oh, he missed! Oh my god! I thought he got the kick! I thought he looked like he got the kick! Oh. What a game. Western Force. What a game. What a game. Western Force versus the Chiefs. Literally going into this game, considering what's happened throughout this weekend to the Australian teams, I was just praying that the Western Force don't get a blowout. That was so close. You could have beaten the Chiefs. The Western Force did so good to come to. Would have been so poetic if they come back for a last minute win against the Chiefs. Oh, it would have been so good. Oh, it would have been so beautiful. Oh, it would have been so beautiful. Oh. Tell you what, the Chiefs did have a pretty ordinary game. Damian McKenzie was definitely suffering from post-final hangover. He missed multiple conversions. He missed penalty touch kicks. He was just like drop balls, just very off today. Damian McKenzie. He just didn't look good. They made a few changes for the Chiefs team. D-Mac was playing at number 10. And he had a terrible, terrible game. And the Western Force was just hanging in there, just taking a beating. Just like the Western Force is the Rocky of rugby. Taking a huge beating, hanging on by a thread, and then coming back with the reserves to putting in just so close. Oh my god, I can't believe he missed! I swear to God, he looked like he got the kick! Oh my god. Anyway, let's go from the start. I don't want this video to be like 3 hours long, because I'm probably going to be talking about it for 3 hours. if I just keep going. So right from the start, the game looked really shaky for both sides. The Chiefs kind of like asserted the dominance right from the beginning with some good hands. Nankivell goes over for the Chiefs for the first try. Straight away, 5 minutes, 7 points on the board for the Chiefs. Okay, and then the Western Force was just it really did look like the Chiefs were dominating. There's especially in the scrums, it's really obvious that the Western Force scrums wasn't on the same level as the Chiefs. They were just getting demolished in the scrums. Luckily, the post-final hangover is in play for the Western for the Chiefs. There was a lot of unforced handling errors. The Western Force got really lucky for about 30. Yeah, for the majority of the first half. The Western Force got really lucky for the majority of the first half to not concede more than one try. Very lucky. They just had one try and one penalty. So there was a number of things that went wrong for the Chiefs. There were just small mistakes, dropping the ball everywhere. Damian McKenzie dropped one or two. There was a lot of lucky, just little lucky penalties going, just saving the Western Force again and again and again and again. Every time it's a scrum, the Force would just get dominated. So aside from the scrums, everything else just seems to not really clicking for the Chiefs. for pretty much the entire first half, especially D-Mac. He missed so many kicks this game. It's very, very poor performance from him. Probably like the worst performance I've seen this season. This is the worst performance from D-Mac. He definitely looked like he was hangover. Anyway, at 35 minutes, the Western Force were able to finally build, literally the first opportunity, they were able to get into the Chiefs' half. They had a penalty against the Chiefs. Instead of taking points, they opted for line out. This is something that the Western Force does really well, to know when to take penalty points and when to take when to go for line outs. There is one point in the middle of the game where I thought, I'll talk about that later, where I thought the Western Force should have gone for 3, but they didn't. That's one mistake that could they should probably made in terms of decision making, but that wouldn't really made much of a difference, I don't think, to the outcome of the game. So there was a line out. So Western Force with a line out comes in. They did like a maul, and there was like an illegal collapse of the maul, and then there was people just repeatedly offside, and the referee gave the Chiefs a warning. Says it's no more. You're in the danger zone. Cannot give any more penalties. At 34th minute. Once again, I think Chiefs were putting pressure on the Western Force were putting pressure on the Chiefs. There was a line out, and the line out was illegally collapsed. And then there was so the first line out was illegally was not illegally collapsed, but there were players offside making the tackle. So Anton Lennon-Brown gets a yellow card at 34th minute for offside, but multiple infringement from the referee's call. And then with one play in the bin, the Western Force opted for a second line out in the same position, 5 meters out from the Chiefs line. The line out comes in, there's more, and the Chiefs players were struggling to keep the more in play. The Western Force felt the momentum going forward for them. Pretty much 3 or 4 backs started piling into the maul, just really try to get the maul pushed it over, and the Chiefs illegally collapses the maul. The referee, yellow card, second player within 30 seconds. The number 8 from the Chiefs side gets yellow carded for collapsing the maul cynically, and the referee gave a penalty try. So he did kind of like look, so they showed the replay, it did look like the number 8 joining the maul. He was like on the side of the maul, so he pushed the maul sideways and collapsed it and stopped the try. So it was a very kind of cynical play. So first penalty try for the Western Force was a penalty try, 7 points against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs are now down to 13 players to play for 10 minutes. Yeah, so probably people were going to argue, the referees, I think a lot of Kiwi players, fans will argue that the referee really helped out the Force. To be honest, 2 things. Firstly, the decisions made were correct. So the penalties, the repeated penalties need to be penalized. And then the cynical collapse of the maul is a penalty try. So these decisions, these infringements are correct. But whether these infringements deserves yellow card, so Damien Murphy is the issue, and I've been talking about this on my channel all season. The issue is a lot of the Kiwi referees happy to not give cards. Are very happy to not give cards. Sure, you're gonna say, yeah, that makes the game good because no one wants to see a team playing with one player down, and it makes the game more consistent when everyone's on the field. But in the New Zealand games, we see teams repeatedly abuses this. Like Crusaders, when they're under pressure, they just give away penalties, helping you take 3 points, and the referee pretty much never gave out yellow cards for that situation. And the Chiefs pretty much doing that here, and they got yellow carded. That's one thing. So it's supposed to be penalized, and you don't see that very often in New Zealand because the referees are, in my opinion, poorly trained by New Zealand rugby, the New Zealand referees. Secondly, the amount of penalties that Dan Murphy were giving, like how you might say that it seems seemingly pretty harsh and pretty strict. It's actually consistent with the real rugby guidelines. If you watch Six Nations, or if you watch South Africa play currently in the Rainbow Cup, the referees are super cut like tight on infringements. Like I watched some replays of the Rainbow Cup in South Africa. The referees are just giving out yellow cards like business cards. Literally, there were so many yellow cards been giving out every game. Like the referees right on it. Any kind of like high tackle, repeated infringement, yellow card, no question asked. And this is South Africa we're talking about. Like the referees are giving out cards to their own teams. So it's not like a third party referee, a French referee giving cards. It's South African referees giving yellow cards to their own team, to their own South African teams. And Sam, if you watch Six Nations as well, the referees are very card happy, very clinical on giving out penalties, like very like strict on these sort of things. And it's only in New Zealand and to some extent Australia that you don't see referees penalize everything so like critically like Damien Murphy did tonight. So you might look like Damien Murphy was like really harsh on the cards, but he's actually in line with World Rugby guidelines, and he's actually doing really well in terms of being consistent with what other referees are doing around the world. So I have to give like props to him for actually doing a great job tonight. So whatever you say, whatever you think, this is actually how all the referees are currently doing around the world, in Europe, in South Africa. So I have no issue with it. So for 10 minutes, the next 10 minutes, the Chiefs were playing with 2 players down. And Damian McKenzie, this 10 minutes, actually played really well. The Chiefs managed the game really well in this next 10 minutes. With some very clever kicks, the Chiefs were able to pin Western Force in their own half for literally 10 minutes. And the Western Force were able to do literally nothing. In fact, the Western Force were giving away 1 penalty that was in kickable range, 2 penalties in kickable range, and Damian McKenzie actually got 1 of the kicks. He missed the second one because he's played really poorly tonight. He got the first kick, so Chiefs actually went into halftime with 10 points to 7, and with 3 points on the board during the 10 minutes where they had only 13 players. So the yellow card is over at 42nd half starts. The yellow card's over. The Chiefs were able to literally take no damage and able to, in fact, get 3 points during the 10 minutes where they only had 13 players. And it's really weird. The Western Force were literally going backwards against 13 players. They were literally conceding territory as they were attacking. Going backwards literally in their attacks, whilst Chiefs had 13 players. As soon as Chiefs had 15 players back on the field, on the 46 minutes, the Western Force starts going forward for some reason. I have no idea what's happened there. Like, literally, Western Force just started making line breaks. Godwin was just everywhere, like, made a beautiful break. He just made hard straight running from Godwin. And also Jeremy Thrush also played really tough game. He just 10 out of 10, superhuman performance this game as well. Just carrying the ball forward, super hard running, and they start going forward again as soon as Chiefs got 15 players back onto the field for some reason. And then at 52 minutes, the Chiefs were back in control and putting pressure on the Western Force. And the Chiefs were 5 minutes out from the Western Force line, building pressure, and there was some passes to the sideline. There was some passes to the sideline, and Oliver Feller, the Western Force number 11 winger, goes for an intercept, and he knocks the ball down. And those 5 meters away from the Western Force try line, and that was a cynical play. Yellow card. 52 minutes into the game. Luckily, there was no penalty try because the player, the winger that was the player that was receiving the ball supposedly from the Chiefs team had Richard Kahui was there to cover him. So it wasn't like, if Richard Kahui wasn't there, that would have been not only a yellow card but a penalty try as well. So the referees were very clear on exactly how that decision was made. So Oliver Feller goes off the field with a yellow card. in the danger zone, and Chiefs goes, okay, we're going to turn up the heater. So went for another penalty line out at 53 minutes, and there was a Chiefs maul, and basically, yeah, the maul goes over, the ball, basically the Chiefs maul, like splitting half, eventually goes over, the ball carrier, Harris goes over for Chiefs' second try. And Tim Anstey from the Western Force was very lucky to not get yellow carded, because he did came in from the side to try to hold the ball up illegally. He would have got a yellow card as well, and it could have been a penalty try. But luckily, he got away with that. The Chiefs were just given the try. After TMO review, Chiefs just given a try. And if Anstey had illegally held up stopped the try, actually stopped the try, would have been a penalty try, and he would have got a yellow card. But because he failed to stop it, they just gave him, they just played the advantage and gave Chiefs the try. So he was very lucky not to get yellow carded there. At 56th minute, there was a poor tackle. So the Chiefs were building pressure again, whilst the Western Force still had one person in the bin. 56th minute, there was so basically the Chiefs were building faces again. Peter Gus Sowakula had the ball. I think he was number 6. He just runs and just literally stiff-armed a defender and ran through a little break. And then there was just 3 players outside of him supporting him. He flicks the ball out wide. One passes or maybe 2 passes to out wide to the wide receiver, low. He goes over for the 3rd try for the Chiefs. So back to back from the yellow card, Chiefs managed to convert 2 tries out of the yellow card from Olawafela. Pretty painful. Luckily, the Iceman was having hangovers from the grand final. He missed both conversions from both tries. So Chiefs were only sitting at 20 points to 7 with 24 minutes to go. Just over 20 minutes to go. And this is when the Western Force brought on their substitutions. So Mioti was playing on the bench. So Mioti comes on with Ian Pryor. And then the game just kicked into another gear for the Western Force. But Mioti comes on the field. He also was having 2 weeks break. Also saw him a bit rusty. He missed touch a couple times when he came on. He only played 20 minutes and missed touch twice for the Western Force. Full on penalties against the Chiefs, and he missed touch twice. So that was very, very, he was pretty off this game as well. Damien McKenzie also missed touch about, I think, twice this game as well. One time he kicked straight into the dead ball line, over the dead ball line, and then another time I think he just went short. He got caught. But Mioti missed touch twice in 20 minutes. At 64th minute, finally the Western Force had a chance Mioti gets the touch properly this time. There was a 5-meter line out. The maul was stopped, so the Western Force just runs the ball a couple times, and then you look like the Chiefs were turning the ball over, and the referee goes, no, penalty. And the referee, before the line out, the referee actually preemptively gave the Chiefs a warning that reminded them that the warning from previous half was still there, so don't give away penalties, because he knows, like I've mentioned before, the Kiwi teams loves to do this. They give away penalties, and then the referee give them the warning. Second half, all that warnings reset. They start giving away penalties again. So the referee, Damon Murphy, did really well. He preemptively gave the Chief a warning before the line out. And then basically, the number 8 from the Chief side was playing the ball on the ground, not releasing the player on the ground after he made the tackle. And there was a bit of confusion where people thought it was number 7. But the referee was like, no, the number 7 was trying to get the ball. He was on his feet. It was actually legal. It's the number 8 that was basically playing the ball when he made a tackle just on the ground, and he was like interfering with the ball on the ground. So he gets a second yellow card, which means he had a red card with 15 minutes to go. So the Chiefs were down to 14 players for the rest of the game. 15 minutes to go. On the 68th minute, so at this point, there was one person missing. The number 8 missing from the Chiefs scrum. And also the Western Force brought on he brought on the Reds prop, the former Reds prop. His name's slipped my mind. What's his name? Greg Holmes. They brought on Holmes, so the scrums was much better in the second half when he came on than the first half, which was just complete destruction for the Chiefs. So the fact that now that the Chiefs has one person missing, instead of opting for the line out, the Western Force opted for another scrum, and as expected, scrum penalty against the Chiefs, and basically the ball comes out prior. After getting the scrum penalty, Pryor gets brought out, saw Richard Kahui out wide, throws a big cutout pass to Kahui. Kahui runs in the sideline and just dots the ball out, and the entire place just went crazy. Like, Richard Kahui, former Chiefs player, scores this critical try for the Western Force, and the whole place just went crazy. Absolutely insane. Huge try for Richard Kahui, 64th minute. Milty actually gets this conversion, which was really, really important. Western Force, 14 points to 20 with 10 minutes to play. Okay? Now, D-Mac gets the kickoff. He kicks the ball straight out from the kickoff. And you're just like, scrum time, midfield. I can see a penalty coming. Sure enough, the scrum turns into a penalty. The midfield scrum from D-Mac's mistake from the kickoff turns into a penalty. And then Miotti misses the touch kick from the penalty. Okay? So Miotti was also having a day off. So that was let off. But eventually, I don't even know how to describe the last 5 minutes. So there was basically mistakes from both teams. And the Western Force were compiling pressure. Again and again and again and again and again. Okay? Eventually, it looked like the Chiefs had... So the Western Force were attacking again. And then Kahui, I think it was Kahui, dropped the ball. But anyway, so... No. Okay. So basically, the Western Force were... Just let me clarify, okay? So after Miotti missed the touch... The Western Force were the D-Mac kicked the ball back out. Western Force managed to get themselves back into the Chiefs' half. Okay, and then they were able to get another different penalty for offside again, and the Western Force were able to get a line out from that offside. Okay, and this time Miotti gets the line out, and then basically, what happened was the West Force were piling a lot of pressure where they weren't able to score. And then eventually, with about a minute left, less than a minute, the Chiefs turns the ball over. They were able to hold up a Western Force player and basically rip the ball out and turns the ball over. And then there was 30 seconds left on the clock after the ball's turnover. All the Chiefs had to do, they were 5 minutes out from their own try line. All the Chiefs had to do is run 30 seconds of the clock down and kick the ball out and win. So you're just watching the clock ticking down. The Chiefs just playing really safe. Get the ball out, one runner, gets tackled, and just get the second pot going, gets tackled. 30 seconds turn into 10, and you're just like, it's over. And the ball, 10 seconds, literally there was 2 seconds left on the clock. The ball pops out. Western Force gets a turnover, and then suddenly the Western Force is attacking again. The Western Force is attacking again, and the ball pops out. Western Force Ian Pryor gets the ball out, quick ball to Miotti, and the Chiefs were scrambling to get it back in defense, and Miotti just runs over for the try. 19 points with the kick to come. And that was probably the most important kick in his career. And Still got a bit to go, my friend. He kicks it, and to me, I got overly excited. It looked like the ball went through, but the ball went across the face of the goal, and he missed. Oh, so close. So close. But that is a very, very good effort from the Western Force. That is entertaining. That is a lot of gut and just good rugby. And I think the referee being very consistent with the world standards. I have to really give Damon Murphy maybe a little bit biased towards the Chiefs. There were some penalties that was kind of like 50-50 towards the end that he given it to the Western Force. But yeah, overall, I think the referee was not too bad. And that's not me being biased. I do think that the TMO definitely had a bit of bias against the Chiefs, but Murphy was really good. It was one time where the TMO was saying that there was a dangerous tackle, and the Murphy he overrides the decision from the TMO and said that he wasn't dangerous. He was sticking to his guns, which was the right decision. So I thought it was, yeah, whatever you say, that was a good game. And the Western Force, once again, delivers a entertaining game for all of us rugby fans around Australia. Very, very good. Very happy. Hopefully you enjoy that. Thank you for watching this video. That is Super Rugby Trans-Tasman Week 1. Very disappointing week for Australia. A couple of shining stars in the Australian team. The Brumbies did really well. The Western Force did really well. A couple of stinkers. The Reds, awful performance from the Reds. It was a terrible performance from the Reds. Awful stinker from the Rebels. The Waratahs play their hearts out. Entertaining game regardless. Still, the task has really improved from their lows in the previous few weeks. And the stinkers are from the Reds and the Rebels. Absolute stinkers. And the shining stars, the Force and the Brumbies did really well. Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed Super Rugby this week. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.